had to buy my own frame and print the picture, but
I had to buy my frame, print the picture,
and
get
put
the
it on
marker,
wall.
and hang it.
But I'm on the wall.
Hey, this is Stefan with Benevolent brand. I have guest speaker Mason Meyer also here to ask some questions with Jaxson Stauber. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Jaxson. I'm play goalie and from Minnesota. Is that good, Mace?
Yep.
That's good. That's like Mace's introduction.
Yep.
Mace said he's from Minnesota like three
twice,
times.
yep.
What's your background? How'd you get into goalie?
I would say I got into goalie because my dad played goalie. It was something that he never really pushed me towards, but just kind of naturally gravitated toward that position.
Where are you at now?
Just finished my third year pro, so going to be going into my fourth year here.
Where are you at in terms of where you're at in your pro career?
Yeah, so last year I was with Utah and Tucson, which is their minor league team in the American League, so just kind of bouncing up and down. So, yeah.
What's your favorite part about what you do as a pro goalie?
Favorite part is just being able to do something that you dream of doing as a kid. It's a lot of fun just to go out there and play games and have fun with a good group of guys and earn a paycheck doing it as a bonus. So yeah, it's special and it's something that I'm really excited to keep continuing to do.
Mace, you got any questions?
Oh, here we go.
We'll come back to me maybe if I have a question.
I got a good question. So obviously with like pro hockey, similar to like junior hockey, there's lots of like uncertainty and like obviously talk about like moving up and down, so that can be kind of tough. Do you ever find that like your faith helps with that because there's so much like uncertainty going around that it's just kind of you don't really, like in college it's more like where you're at, what you're doing. Where here it's like you get a call and you're driving 16 hours to go start a game. It's like lots of uncertainty.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously the call when you get those calls to go up is much better than when you get the ones that you're going down. So that's kind of when you have to lean on your faith. But even going up, I think I remember the first time like being really excited but nervous as well.
Yeah.
And so just trusting that, I was there and that God had put me in that position to be successful. And that I was prepared for whatever was going to come from that situation. And I think that's kind of the approach that I've taken. Even this year was different going to a new team.
Yeah.
I was with Chicago for the first 2 years, so just trusting that this was going to be a good spot for me and leaning on that, coming to a new organization where you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
That can be, daunting. You want to make a good first impression. So just trusting him that, that's where he wanted me to be and that was going to be a good spot.
Awesome.
What's a typical day in the life of an NHL goalie?
That's a good question.
Game day or practice day?
Both.
Okay. I think practice day, kind of get to the rink probably around maybe 8:39. Practice normally starts at around 11:30. So get to the rink, have some breakfast, start to kind of do some warm-up stuff. You do your workout in the gym, and then after that there's meetings, short meetings, just sometimes longer depending on the day, going over, maybe the opponent for the next day or the previous game's game film, just, whatever the coaches feel that we need to touch on. And then normally goalie skate starts around 11:15, so go out there, do some goalie drills, and then start practice, like I said, around 11:30. After practice, I normally do some recovery stuff in the gym again, just make sure I'm taking care of my body, and then have some lunch at the rink, go home, and then you just kind of have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. So.
What about game day?
Game days, I'm trying to think. I think pregame skate starts at like 10:30, so probably get to the rink a little bit earlier, like 8:30. Again, have some breakfast. There's meetings, you go over pre-scout, player tendencies, stuff like that. Have the pregame skate, do some recovery stuff. I always take the pregame meal to go. I don't like to eat super early, so eating at noon and then not again until after the game that's hard for me. So go home, just kind of relax for probably like an hour, and then take a nap for about an hour and a half, get up, have that pregame meal, go to the rink, and then it's time to get ready for the game.
In terms of your approach we're all goalies, so we're all probably a little bit unique in our own ways. Do you have a certain kind of something that you follow, like a regiment, like whether it's on the ice, anything that helps keep you focused or just trusting in your in what you do and your faith and everything?
Just like on the ice, you mean?
Yeah, on the ice, off the ice, anything.
As far as like for performance or just like in terms of faith and stuff?
I would say like everything altogether.
That's a loaded question. I would say I'm a very like routine-oriented
Yeah.
person. Like I like to have good habits and kind of build that routine. I think it's really important, especially when, you know, your day-to-day can look very different depending on where you are, if it's a game day, practice day, if you're traveling. So having that, you know, trying to have different routines for different days is important, but I also think being flexible is extremely important. There's, like you said earlier, there's a lot of uncertainty. And so just being able to kind of adjust and not be too regimented, I think, is also important. I'd say a couple things. I kind of touched on it, but just taking care of myself, like after I get off the ice, like making sure I'm, you know, doing my foam rolling, soft tissue work, stretching, mobility exercise, just stuff like that, just to help. I think that's good mentally, but physically as well, to keep myself sharp. And then I do a lot of like, more so in the summer, but in the season, kind of when I can too, like different vision training exercises to keep the mind sharp and keep the eyes strong. I think throughout the season, just like when you go work out, you're working out, you know, 5 days a week in the off season. During the season, you're maybe only getting a couple days in, or it's after a game, you're not working out quite as hard. So just trying to keep that base level that you built throughout the season or throughout the off season is really important. Yeah, and then as far as like faith and stuff, like I have that YouVersion Bible app. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Mm-hmm. And they have like the daily verses. I've done a lot of different things. Like I've done daily devotionals, I've done daily verses, but like I kind of like what I've been doing now this summer is they have those daily verses, so read that, and then they kind of have like a little almost like a little walkthrough. You know, someone's on there talking about the verse and, you know, applying it to your own life and stuff like that. So I like to go through that, and then they have like a guided prayer. And then something else like that I've kind of found is like when I'm looking at those verses, like really trying to understand, you know, who wrote it, like when was this written, what was, you know, a theme going on, like just kind of taking a deeper look instead of just, you know, reading a couple lines and going, okay, yeah, you know, see you tomorrow. So I would say that's something that I've kind of gotten more into, and just I'm always trying to kind of learn and make time for that kind of stuff, and I think that's yeah. So
I got one more question, and maybe if you want to finish with the last question, Mason, if you got anything. What's your favorite Bible verse?
Well, probably one on my back of my helmet, Isaiah 26:4. Trust in the Lord, for the Lord God is an everlasting rock. That's my favorite one.
I don't think I've heard that one. I like it.
Actually.
Yeah, I got it. Well, I mean, I've heard it before, but out of this book, I did like a FCA hockey stuff when I was a little bit younger, like in high school, and we were reading this book, and it was called what the heck is the name of it? I'm blanking on the name, but the author was he was a quarterback at Texas, and he wrote it with I think his like pastor from like when he was growing up, or maybe when he was at Texas, his like chaplain or whatever, and that was a big verse that he had kind of touched on, and I just thought it was really relatable. You know, being an athlete, like there's so much ups and downs, and you know, just always trusting that like God's your rock and to lean on Him, especially in, you know, a lot of uncertain situations. Like for him, like he got hurt in the national championship game, and just he was a, you know, quarterback in the NFL and moved around like lots of different teams. Like that was, you know, that was very relatable to me. So I kind of liked that verse. I kind of plucked it from that.
It's a solid one. Nice. You want to hit us with the final question?
Sure. I got a gear question.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite all-time set? A whole career. Could be 5-year-old.
From
like anything.
Probably when I was like in 7th or 8th grade, I had a full set of Vaughns that were custom when I played for Wyzetta. Nice. So our colors were blue and gold, so they were mostly blue. They had a little bit of gold on them, and I had like that waffle blocker, like the retro waffle blocker, and I thought that was that was a pretty cool set. So I'd have
Nice.
to go with that one.
Nice. It sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, not bad.
Awesome. Well, do you have anything last minute? Anything you want to share? Words of wisdom?
No, I don't have
No?
any words of wisdom. No.
You're doing something right though. So, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Appreciate you, Mace, too.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Big time.